Why stories? Yours or mine? When I was 6 or 7 years old, my father used to tell me a story that revolved around a king, wild boars, and lotus flowers. The characters and places in the story would flash in my mind, and listening to the story, I would fall asleep. I never felt bored with that story. The human brain is wired to think in stories. Our brains are always searching for meaning and patterns. When I see a color, smell a familiar scent, hear a song, read a word, or see a person, my brain weaves a story. If my brain associates positively with what I see, it creates a happy story. But if what I see has negative connotations for my brain, the story that runs on the screen of my mind creates negative emotions. Paul Zak, a neuroscientist and a professor at Claremont Graduate University, found that to the brain, good stories are good stories, whether first person or third person, on topics happy or sad, as long as they get us to care about their characters. When we enjoy a story, we become part of it. When we are into a positive story, the four hormones abbreviated as DOS, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins are released to promote happiness, pleasure, and positive feelings. But stories play a much larger role in our lives. Our ancient Rishis, the Seers, saw that stories can change us faster than precepts. Philosophies hone our intellect. It's repetitive listening to stories that changes us from within. These seers saw with their inner eyes that for humans in the future ages, the most effective way to process knowledge into wisdom would be stories. Stories based on eternal principles of life. Stories from the lives of great beings that have gone before us. This is why they gave us Puranas such as Bhagavat Purana, Shiva Purana, Devi Purana, and others. With time, we have collected stories from the lives of the masters of wisdom who visited the earth in the 20th century. Not only this, we come across people and hear of others who have transformed themselves remarkably despite the difficulties their minds presented to them. We hear of people who, despite their challenges, help others. And we have extended the role of stories by using customer stories and case studies in the corporate world. So, the story is not some trendy word. A story should impart correct information, relevant knowledge, and practical wisdom to its listeners. The more the story can keep us engaged, the more likely we will believe what the story is telling us. A story needs to strike a chord with our intelligence and emotions. A story has many layers and messages. Even when we don't get all the meanings logically, our subconscious mind gets the point that the symbols of a story are intended to make. Paul said it best, even with millennia of practice, creating a great story is difficult. The emerging science of narrative can guide the art, but it cannot replace it. Humans are just too complex for an algorithm to generate art. And this is where the artist comes in. Thank you, Paul, for saying this in the age where the greatest minds believe artificial intelligence will replace human intelligence in several ways. In this audio podcast, we will listen to a variety of stories. Some will make the point in simple sentences, and some will be layered with various messages. Some will be simple and some will be complex. because the tapestry of life is complex.